Hello, I'm Toycat, and welcome back to episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the weekly update as to what's going on in my survivor world, and indeed life, the universe, and everything in between. And you know what, it's kind of weird that we never start these episodes at sunset. The reason is clear, it's because Minecraft is just an objectively worse game when it's nighttime. However, in spite of that, I feel like, you know, let's do something different today, because it's episode 418, and things are gonna be different in the nearest future with the Let's Play, because as you all might know, something Australia, something, change in the Let's Play schedule, and I think it's going to be a fun time, and, you know, expect some changes as a part of that, because, yeah, it's no longer Let's Play Monday, it's Let's Play whichever day of the week it happens to come out, which will be more than once a week. It's going to be fun, it's going to be great, and as part of that, I wanted to celebrate by doing an episode where I talk for Minecraft for at least close to half of the episode. So today's video, we're not going to go right off on the deep end 4 minutes in. We're actually going to talk about Minecraft things, about the Nether update. We're going to talk about bees. We're going to talk about all these sorts of things in a kind of more in-depth fashion than I get to in news videos. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Anyway, so today I'm in here in my auto smelter area. The reason I'm here with 4 shulker boxes too, by the way, is because of the fact that I had a big glitch in my Nether recently. If you haven't seen it, basically dragons spawned out of nowhere. They shouldn't have spawned, but dragons spawned in, and it gave me a huge issue because I had laminated my end at that point. I'd covered it in glass, and yeah, it took me 55,000 blocks of glass to cover my end, and in an instant, thousands and thousands, I might even argue over 10,000 of these glass blocks went missing, and I've had to slowly replace them, and to get a lot of glass, you need to do a lot of smelting. So I've spent hours in this room just waiting for it to go, and now I'm gonna have to spend something like an hour, maybe 2, actually fixing up the end and all of the glass holes left by the Ender Dragon. It seriously is a big problem, and it's a little bit annoying, but you know, that's half of the fun in playing Minecraft, right? You might just have a giant glitch in your world that costs you 10 to 12 hours, but you know, I'm not mad, you are. Anyway, the reason I spent so long getting lava buckets last week is because to have an auto smelter for this amount of glass, you need a lot of lava buckets. Admittedly, we could have more auto smelters, but the same issue is there, that when you're smelting thousands or tens of thousands of blocks of glass, as we've just done to fill up all of these shulker boxes, you end up with a lot of, you know, smelting stuff required, and also a lot of time required. So yeah, we've got some extra glass that has smelted since I came here, and now we're going to take this extra glass, we're going to go to the end, and we're going to start fixing something which I probably shouldn't have to fix, but the Minecraft insists that I do. It's going to be great fun. I hope you're looking forward to it. I also hope you're looking forward to an episode where we talk about Minecraft for like at least half the episode. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna try my best to actually stick to that promise. And we're gonna start actually by talking about like updates right now, because you know, usually on this channel, you know, I'm a big update guy. I'm very excited by updates to Minecraft. If I like something, I like seeing how it can change and evolve over time. This is true for a lot of things, and there's probably a problem with lots of other areas of my life, but as it turns out, I can make a career talking about Minecraft updates, because here we are right now. Here you are about to listen to my thoughts on the Nether update, because I think the Nether update is such a solid theme for an update. And you might say, wait a minute, Cat, you're going to the end. That's not the Nether. That's not a solid thing to do. By the way, don't do what I just did right there. If you're in the, if you're on Java or console, it will still hurt you. For some reason on Bedrock, you don't take full damage from switching dimensions, which to me makes sense, but it doesn't work that way on other platforms. Expect bad things to happen. Anyway, so here is what my end looks like right now, and this is after I've spent a couple thousand blocks fixing it. I spent all the glass in my world I could trying to put it back together, but it still looks like an abject wreck. It's just terrible, and there's a big project I want to work on, an Enderman farm, as you might guess from the giant glass Enderman, and I just don't feel right working on that until I've worked on this, because, you know, I've had experience issues recently. I died in some background gameplay you might have seen recently, and yeah, it's a whole problem coming from that. Anyway, so I think a Nether update is a really great thing for Minecraft, because here's the thing about updating the game. A lot of updates to the game just added new content in areas where it wasn't expected previously, so it felt kind of out of place. I feel like Minecraft has gone to such a cult level status, and the updates have kind of got spaced out apart enough now, that when it comes to adding new stuff, they have to be careful to make sure it feels like what you expect from the game. So I feel like the reason the Nether update is so clever is because no one really expects anything from the Nether. It's same with the oceans. They're just a part of Minecraft. Everyone can admit that it's not very fleshed out. Like, think about the Nether right now. I mean, I know we're in the end, but think about the Nether anyway, okay? Think about what actually goes down in the Nether. You can probably imagine that it's like, oh yeah, there are zombie pigments there, and there are, you know, wither skeletons, and it's useful for fighting the 2 bosses, but is there anything there to keep you exploring besides maybe nether quartz? And even nether quartz is kind of fallen out of use because you can make white concrete if you really need to. It's obviously less efficient, and nether quartz is still a great way to get experience, but outside of that, it's like, oh yeah, I can see what you mean there. By the way, I think my mic is still having issues with loudness. I don't know why this is happening when I record the Let's Plays. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to magically fix that, I hope. Okay, so that should have hopefully fixed things, and if it didn't, then you know what, maybe it was just meant for me to have slightly louder voices every now and then. Maybe that's how I talk in real life, I just get randomly loud every now and then. Who knows for sure? You don't know me, you don't know I sound like that. That could be real. However, my real life doesn't matter, because I want to stay Minecraft focused today, and I want to talk about the fact that I think a Nether update's a really cool idea, because they basically are saying there's an entire dimension that people don't really identify with. No one ever thinks, best part of Minecraft, the Nether. It's a place you go, it's a tool you use that can be made into a great place. It can be made into something that's like, oh yeah, I can't believe we used to go there before they updated it and made it actually good. And that's what I think is really great about the idea of updating the Nether. That's what I think is really especially wonderful about a Nether update, is the fact that it effectively is taking a whole dimension, which means they can do a lot of cool stuff. They're adding new mobs, and even, you know, we're going to tie this back into Cave Update, because, you know, you're watching a Toy Cat video, what else do you expect? It means there will be better Nether caves. I am 99% sure. I won't count it as part of my, you know, $1,000 cave update bet if they add Nether cave features, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, I reckon that they can add cave features to the Nether. They can add real reasons to explore the underground of the Nether, or at least, you know, behind the biomes of the Nether, because they did add 3D biome you know, tools, or they added some references to it at least. And although I don't necessarily think they'll use them in the overworld yet, I pray they will. I would be so happy if, you know, they actually started making, you know, cave biomes in the overworld. I'm not sure they will, but I hope they experiment in Nether. I hope they take a really cool part of Minecraft and they make it better. And yeah, then we can have the cave update in 2021, right? That's what we've got to hope for. That's what we've got to pray for. So yeah, basically there's 2 updates happening right now. I want to use this platform as an opportunity to like keep everyone on the same page, because it's not a news video, but again, I've got more time. I can talk about it more casually without feeling like I'm wasting one of my very precious like 10 minutes in a news video. Because, you know, as a news video gets longer, it gets less useful as news. Generally speaking, people want to digest news as like you know, like people want the news fast, and then they want, you know, maybe they want the opinions afterwards. But like you know, the news needs to be a certain length. Whereas this Let's Play, you know, it might end up being 40 minutes. It might end up being an hour. I don't really know. I just want to kind of talk, get that like streaming vibe out there, because I'm not sick anymore. It's great. But yeah, speaking of things that aren't sick, the B update. The B update is not sick in the sense of it's the coolest update ever. It is a really cool meme update. I think they nailed the idea of like, if we're gonna have a small update, we've got to make it memey. And as far as like bees go, one of the memeiest animals alive. That also, get this, bees are good for the real world in some ways. I'm actually not a fan of bees. Like, I think, you know, although bees going down is bad for biodiversity, humans, and a lot of other downsides, you ever think that maybe bees deserve it? You ever think that, like, maybe they just stung too many humans, and if they didn't do that, then maybe we'd be more friendly with them, you know? Maybe if, you know, they just de-evolved that stinger, if they could just get rid of that, we'd be happy with them. In the same way, you know, when I go to America and I see police with guns, I'm scared of those police with the guns. Statistically, they're not going to shoot me, right? But it still means that when I hear like, oh, they had to lay off a bunch of NYPD officers the other week, I don't know if that's a thing, I'm gonna imagine that it is, I'm like, oh, well that means I feel less like there's a gun in my face. And did I just make bees and police officers with guns in America a thing? Yeah, I totally compared the two. What are you going to do about it? My video. So, yeah, I think a B update is also kind of fun. Just so you know, B update for Java is coming later this year, and then Nether update is 2020. When it comes to Bedrock, though, I really don't know what their plan is, because 1.13 is still in the works. We haven't even seen bees in Bedrock. Like, there's no betas, nothing like that. So, it's probably coming out near the end of the year, but I guess they want to do it as 1.15 maybe, or... Actually, yeah, I guess they would want to do 1.15, so it ties up with Java having 1.15, and then 1.16 will be coming first to Bedrock, and then, you know, like, by the time the Nether update comes out, it'll be like 1.18 or something. Look, there's the update cycle, the update naming system's gonna get weird. I expect they're gonna change things, but who knows for sure. Again, this is just my casual thoughts. You don't get real facts and news and stuff, because it's not a news video. But yeah, I'm really excited for both updates right now, and I think it's cool that Minecraft's in this era where like things are happening in good new ways. So look at that. We spoke about Minecraft for a really long time now. Hope you're all happy. I guess I also have to bring up that like the mountain won the vote, and that was the one I wanted to win, right? It always feels good when you're rooting for something and it wins, right? That's the whole reason sports exist. I think sports are objectively not interesting to watch. However, if for some reason I feel like I have a stake in one of the teams, I'll watch it and I'll be like, yeah, you score them hoops, you make them shuttlecocks or whatever thing it is. You get invested in a sport when there are stakes, when there is a a downside to losing and an upside to winning. That's the whole way that sports work. That's the whole generalization of how it works. I'm sure that's not news to anyone, but like I don't live in a sports heavy. I guess I don't have any sports heavy friends, so maybe it is shocking to some of you. But yeah, in the same way, I liked that giving democracy to us at Minecon Live was an opportunity for me to win or lose. And you better believe my side, Team Mountain, all of us, the good people here on the channel IBX Toycat, you better believe we won. And there's this really scary kind of thing that like Snowier Snow might not actually be a brand new thing for Bedrock. There's implication again. I don't know if there's no real way to confirm or deny this till we see it or we see an official like Jeb level comment, but there are murmurings that maybe Snowier Snow, again from official sources, maybe Snowier Snow just means Bedrock like snow log stuff, which would mean that Bedrock is not only barely benefiting from one of the features, but also barely benefiting the other one. That would be the worst thing, right? Like the taste of it turns to ashes in our mouth. We vote for mountains because we want better mountains for Bedrock, and it turns out nah, we're not going to really fix the mountains. We're not even going to add Snowier Snow because Snowier Snow doesn't mean something. So we're just adding Bedrock Snow to Java. That is the worst thing if they count parity as one of the 3 new features, which would be ridiculous, right? That would be silly, but it's a thing that might be true. So yeah. Just know there might be some controversy yet in this vote. And I don't know if I think it's a good thing, but I think it's an interesting thing. Again, controversy is never usually just a bad thing. It's always a thing for people to watch. Actually, not while we're talking about the news anyway, or like news as a concept. I find news to be a fascinating one because there's so, like, we all believe that the news means the news, even though it hasn't meant that for a really long time, right? And if you're curious as to what I mean by that, let me be more clear here and say that ever since like yellow journalism, ever since like hundreds of years ago now, but it's gone worse in the last like I don't know decade or two. News is not a collection of events that have happened that day. It is not the most important 10 things that have happened in a day. It is not, here is an update on the world. There are very few news outlets that focus on, here are the most important things that have happened. Instead, news is, here are things that you're willing to click on or read or buy our newspaper or support our, our journal for whatever reason. Like, every single paper is obviously going for a different audience, but now it's just become like standard that you don't even have to pretend you kind of make news in that way. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to me because as part of this, I although I cover the biggest things happening in Minecraft, there's always something interesting where like the same thing does apply. The same incentive systems do apply on YouTube, where like some pieces of news are just more interesting to the viewers, to the fans, or whatever you want to call them, than other pieces of news. Some pieces of news, despite being huge, just don't really matter to most people, and some pieces of news, despite being fairly small, are huge to people. And I feel like bees are a great example of like, I think even now to this day, my bee video, like snapshot video, and maybe also the combat update video, despite them being relatively small, news pieces, news releases, they've both gone really, really big. People love learning about both those things. However, something a bit more, true. Again, the news is all done well from Minecon Live, but it's interesting that this stuff regarding capes and new emotes and stuff, that's not really so sexy. It's not really so easy to understand. There's no villain, and it's not like a one-dimensional story. It's not like, oh yeah, what it is there is, like bees are in Minecraft, and that's a fun meme. It's not as easy to digest and understand as that. And yeah, part of me worries about that as a concept. Like, obviously, that means my incentives are not on the, the interesting controversies that I want to at least bring some light to, because it makes people better in general. Like, that if you're aware of controversies, you have an opinion, then hopefully you have a good opinion, and hopefully you can start to affect change. I think the only reason that Minecraft does not have paid mods is because they know there would be an uproar from the community. The only reason that there is going to be paid emotes is because they've worked out that they can make the Fortnite comparison, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, I guess Fortnite's basically in the same boat. Or they can make a comparison to any other game that sells emotes, and they can say, well, it's basically the same thing. But yeah, let's talk about emotes, actually. Again, this is the Let's Play. I've gone like 20 minutes almost talking about Minecraft, so we're on like a new record. I want to talk about emotes because they're coming to Minecraft, and there's this really interesting kind of sub-subject from them. Is sub-subject a word you can say? I feel like subject might already... The sub in subject probably already means the same thing as a sub-subject. But you know what? Sub-subject right here. Not a subject about subs. Although there's like 4 meanings of the word sub too. You know, am I talking about submarines? Am I talking about, you know, things from the popular sandwich chain? Am I talking about a different type of sub altogether? You know? We'll never know, and I'll never reference what those other types are. But what I will say is... that's kind of interesting is that the sub-subject of emotes is interesting to me because there's this really concerning like divide between what I want as a player of Minecraft and what I think is good for the community. Like, let me put it this way. Like, there's a interesting gap between what I want as a YouTuber, what would be good for me as a YouTuber, and what I think is good for me as a player, what is good for the player base as a whole. And, yeah, one of the things I kind of struggle with when I talk about things like this on the channel is that, like, I know emotes are gonna be a big money maker. Like, all I have to do is make a video showing off the first emote pack. It will be a million view video. It's the same thing as the bee problem, right? But also at the same time, that almost involves in, you know, supporting a system I don't agree with. You know, buying emotes even, if there is a paid emote pack, you better believe people will be hyped to see that video, and if I do it in front of a green screen, then it can become memes too. There's like so many layers of things that are possible with emotes. But I also think that giving Microsoft the precedent that like, oh yeah, you can take a brand new game feature and turn it into an opportunity to, you know, again, whether directly now or whether eventually make money is a really concerning precedent to set. And that's why one of the things that I try to be cautious with, because on this channel, I've kind of worked out that the most important thing I can do is stay honest. So the most valuable thing to me is to stay honest, because I think we'll go a little bit off Minecraft here. I'm sorry to all of you that don't care about anything in life besides Minecraft. I'm very sorry. But when it comes to like what YouTube fame, let's use air quotes for that, gets you, I pretty much like I was at like a really happy level for quite some time. I would say that anything past like 1 million has not, it hasn't really given me any benefits that I am hyped with, because I don't want to be a famous person, right? Like if you love fame, if you're one of those sorts of people, boy, are you gonna love you know, being you know, boy, would you love being in these shoes. But like, I don't think fame is a valuable thing to me. I don't think it's a thing that anyone should really want. But you know, that's a separate discussion for another time. So yeah, recently there's been like a big boom in the channel. A lot of friends know me as like, oh yeah, you showed up on Reddit. That's crazy. Like, because of you know, recently the communism stuff and like lots of you know, the extremist ideology stuff. It's gone a little wild on the internet, and because of that, there's this kind of interesting thing where I think the upsides of the channel growing are now perfectly weighed with the downsides, right? The reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, don't worry, it comes around to it. So the upsides me growing are pretty much the same as the downsides, like, oh sorry, they're equal, I would say. Like, you know, if as the channel grows, I get more and more terrified of the world around me, because there are slowly more and more people who might know who I am, especially because I do live streams where my face is visible, stuff like that, right? So like, as I do more and more stuff, I would say like the downsides of like someone recognize me, which again to me is entirely just a downside, right? Like, it's cool. I would like to say hello to you if you actually do watch the videos, especially if you're a Let's Play watcher, but I don't like the idea of like, oh yeah, I vaguely know of you from somewhere probably. Can you take a selfie with me so I can use it? I don't like the idea of that, right? Like that kind of hurts me as a person on the inside. And yeah, again, maybe that's really arrogant and vain, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry. But yeah, I kind of worked out that like, oh yeah, so the upsides, which is mostly like, I have a bigger platform to say things on, and also probably more money, right? Let's be real, like, the more people who watch my videos, the more money that I get. It's a wonderful thing. This is my full-time profession now. It's crazy. But like, at this point, the more money just buys security, because once you go past a certain point, my lifestyle is mostly cheap besides traveling, and even traveling is, again, most cheaper than most people live their normal lives, despite the fact that I spend half my life on the other side of the globe. But like, the reason I'm saying all of that is that the biggest problem with like growing any faster, like the reason I don't really care about going beyond 1 million, like I'm not bothered about getting to 10 million and getting what, a diamond play button. The reason I don't care is because there's a big insecurity, you know, that comes from that. Like, there's a lack of security. There is you know, things that I can do become undoable, or become more dangerous, or become more, you know, like, you know, I lose the ability to do things safely, which means that really what happens as I grow is there is a a proportional relationship between insecurity from the world, but also security in terms of finance or in terms of whatever else. But it means that the reason I gave you that whole rant, because it's been on my mind, it's been kind of eating away at me, I'll be honest. So sorry for oversharing, internet. But it means that at this point, I think I can make the sacrifices that are probably not wise. Things like, again, not being in Microsoft's good book. The reason that no other YouTuber feels comfortable, like saying, is paid emotes a good idea? Is because, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. The Microsoft hand will invite you to events. You'll get cool stuff. They'll give you, effective, you can get a lot of positive benefits from a relationship with the people who make the game that you play. And you get a lot of downside relationships, stuff like, again, the number of, things where for some reason they send it to every YouTuber besides me, it's fine, you just didn't make the cut. Or like, the number of like key events that they're like, well, you can't come to this one. The number of events like that, the number of things like that is on the rise. It's a problem because it means that, there's some data points that I'm missing. There are some key contacts that I kind of lack as a result of that. But it's one of those trade-offs I don't mind making for the sake of honesty. I think one of the things I value so much in people, one of the things I value so much, in any relationship I have, is honesty. I think being honest with other people is essential, right? You need to be honest to have... What's the point in talking if you're not honest either 99.9% of the time, or ideally 100% of the time, right? What is the point in anything? And kind of as a public figure, one of the things I want to really push, even though it's gonna cause this whole downside in that way, is I feel like if I therefore have no incentives to deal with the downside that way, why not use the platform for honesty? If everyone else has everyone else is worried about it, why? I guess I have to be the person who's like, hey, why this, Microsoft? Why take a thing that used to be prestige and slowly turn it into a microtransaction thing? That is something that I guess I try my best to fight with. And again, here's the funny thing. It's not even going to be like a fight we win. It's just going to be a fight where we can raise the actual points, the reality of the situation to as many people as we can. And to me, that actually matters. I think it sounds really stupid. It sounds like I'm like, I don't know, like some billionaire that has the ability to be like, I think knowledge is more important than bananas. But no, I really do think that a world with more knowledge in it is a world that's super, super... I think that is going to be the thing that decides whether we as a species, go places, or whether we as a species rot and, I don't know. If, the real valuable thing, the real thing that's going to make the difference in the most people's lives, in my opinion, is knowledge, is education, is learning, etc. And that's why, if you don't know, the next update's not the cave update. If they don't add an overground mining feature, I will donate $1,000. And I feel like my charity of choice is going to be controversial because I will donate I think Wikipedia's the... I might end up with another one. Don't tell me charities to pick. I guarantee I won't give my money to a charity you tell me to. Sorry, those are the rules. When people come up to me begging on the street and they're like, hey, you need to give the charity money because I'm getting a small cut of the thing, I say no. Not only am I not giving the charity money, but maybe kids with leukemia no, I can't even joke about that one, can I? But you get the point. That I think a world of more knowledge is actually a lot more valuable than we all think, because people who are informed do so much more than temporary fixes to problems. The long-term fix to every single problem in the world is we need someone who is smart, someone who is educated, someone who is informed to deal with it. So many of the big issues in the world are only there because no one has cared enough to try and deal with it yet. Someone who has the ability to, I should say. I don't know if it comes down to IQ or if it comes down to, because there are some people who have crazy abilities to learn new skills, and that's fluid IQ. I want to say maybe there is a fixed proportion of humans that have high values in that way, and we need to motivate them, or maybe every single person can learn to be that way. And it's important that we need, that we get the education out to them. But I think that is the single biggest thing that humanity lacks. That's like my hill I would die on, you know, that we need smarter people. I personally would probably benefit in the world where people are less smart, because the fewer smarter people there are, you know, the the easier it is to probably make money in X field or Y field, right? I think that goes without saying. But I also think that, yeah, that is my biggest belief. And that is why, if there's one tiny thing I can ever do with this channel, if there's one little message I can ever spread, I hope it's knowledge. I hope that if there's anything you get from the second channel, or whether it's, you know, the videos we talk about here, it's motivation or knowledge. Because those two things combined are what will change the world. One day, all it's going to take for us to go to Mars, or all it's going to take for us to go to the Alpha Centauri, or all it's going to take to fix something like, oh yeah, we have a giant crisis on our hands in the world, right, that no one really knows how to fix without destroying the living standards, which would defeat the point in, you know, fixing the world anyway. So how do you fix that issue? We need a lot of dedicated, motivated, intelligent people. Or, I don't know if intelligent or smart, whatever you want to say. And yeah, we need motivated and we need educated people. And I don't think I'm actually making a difference with this channel to that grand design, but it is something that I always want to have, like, as a, I'd rather make a tiny impact than no impact in that way. And I think that's actually, wait, let me side rant here, but I think that's always kind of been how it is. I think it's a really hard pill to swallow, but one of the big things that you kind of, like, learn, at least that I've had to learn, is because, you know, like, for instance, voting, you... okay, wait. Okay, real talk here. Let me give you some really bad advice. But it's true. Your vote doesn't matter. Objectively speaking, your single vote is not going to be the one that makes the difference between, you know, a president or a prime minister, or even a local representative. They're never won by one vote, the grandest ones at least. Sometimes a local election goes to a tie, or it's won by one vote. Sometimes you make some small impact. But even then, it's never happened where there's been a single vote won by one vote, and then also there's been the entire thing won by that one overall vote. Basically, my point is, I'm just trying to say here, is that your vote doesn't objectively matter, but the reason that you should act like it does is because that's your, like, small impact as a human, and it's better to have a very, very small impact and, you know, like, just try and make the world better and try and be like a good workaround than to not, right? Like, if enough people try to watch the world burn, we can burn the world. I mean, something we already are. Ha ha ha, am I right? But no, it's it is a little bit true, right? There is some truth to the idea that I have a lot of these that I have to fix, by the way, or kind of pick up. But yeah, there is at least some amount of truth in the notion that yeah, everything doesn't matter, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I guess, wait, let me put it this way. Someone recently told me that I have issues with control. Someone says, you know what, you like to control too much. And I think they raised some pretty good examples, like, in this Let's Play world, the reason that I do it the way that I do, the reason that this world is so strange. By the way, I've been full-on flowing for, like, 20 minutes here. Is this a good Let's Play episode? Let me know, I don't even know. But, yeah, basically, someone said that, you know, like, the way you control the world, this, that, it's probably a sign of control. And then someone else recently pointed out to me that, like, you know, most social anxiety, most fear of being in a group, because, you know, I had a situation where I was in a group of people, and it was so socially exhausting to me. Like, it drained my social bar, like, 10 times faster than I would normally. Again, imagine I'm a sim. It's the only way that analogy makes sense. But, like, yeah, basically, someone said that, like, oh yeah, anxiety is, you know, social anxiety. Again, I don't like the term social anxiety. I think if you diagnose yourself with social anxiety, you'll be worse socially, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't think that anyone should think they have social anxiety unless it is a prescribed thing, because it's going to give you issues. But that's a separate point. My point, though, is just that, like, most anxieties, whether social or not, usually comes down to control. It usually is linked that way. And when they said that, like, again, they said it like a week after the other person said the thing about control, it, like, links so in my brain that, like, so many things, so many of the problems that people have with interpersonal relationships just come down to a form of control, right? Just come down to, like, oh yeah, we don't really agree on who is in control right now, and that causes issues. Or, like, they would like to be controlled in this particular way, and it seems weird, but, like, if you just appreciate it and accept it, it's kind of fine. So, yeah, there's a lot of weird applications to how this can, like, At least how it's like changed my perception of my own life. But rather than talking about accurate ones, because, you know, why do that, right? What about instead if we talk about one of my most ridiculous examples of control? Because, you know, I was sick recently. I don't know if I mentioned that. It was terrible. But no, it really was terrible because it meant that for a whole week, literally whole week, I was not in control of myself. If I wanted to do something, it was not a matter of, do I want to do it? Yes, I will do it. It was, do I want to do it? Can I do it? No. Like, going outside was pain. Again, I don't want to describe sickness symptoms. It's not fun to anyone, so I'm sorry for burdening you with by saying that, like, yeah, let's be real. I was sick. It's not fun to describe being sick. It's not fun to be sick either. So, yeah, because of that, it's really weird that I don't like to tell anyone that I'm sick. The reason I'm fine with it now is because, like, I've kind of tried to get over that as a result of that. But the reason I'm telling you is because I'm trying to be like, hey, look, I can tell the world that I'm sick and not even feel awful about it. But, like, I really don't like showing people, especially people I know in real life, hey, I'm sick. Because it's like a way of showing weakness, right? It's like, oh, look, this guy is weak. He is... It literally is weakness, right? That's what sickness is. That's like a one-to-one correlation between what I'm talking about and facts. Sickness is a form of weakness. You are weak when you are sick. You are sick when you are weak. Well, I don't know if you're sick when you're weak, but it definitely works one of the ways around that I said it, right? So, yeah, I really, really, really don't like admitting that I'm sick. And also, I really don't like being sick as a whole, because you're not in control. There's so much I wanted to get done, because I have a big Australia trip. I wanted to start preparing for that, start doing some big videos, and I did not have the energy or the ability to do any of that stuff. And I hate the concept of, I hate when people say, like, I don't have the energy. What does energy really mean, you know? It's the discipline motivation thing we mentioned before. Like, if you are disciplined, then the concept of energy feels weird to me, because I can take my energy reserves so far past zero. Normally, not when my body is yelling at me to go in a dark room and just shut my eyes. So yeah, I don't know. It's maybe I have a superpower normally. I don't think so though. What I actually think is that, you know, I really like being healthy, and I'm gonna appreciate that a bit more. Like when I'm on the way to when I'm on the way to Australia, I'm gonna appreciate a bunch. Like, on the flight, I'm going to be like, whoa, I feel normal right now. This doesn't even hurt my insides. Because, oh, actually, you know, here's a tiny fun fact that if you're not a plane person, you might find useful. Some planes, like, actually, like, pressurize your body more than others, which, generally speaking, I don't know if scientists are 100% out on this one, but generally speaking, you don't want to pressurize your body more than you need to. And yeah, some planes do that way more. I was on a plane that was, like, one of the more uncomfortable ones, A340, if you're curious and you know plane numbers. But yeah, it's like it's not pressurized. It wasn't a good plane. It's got more engines, some more noise. I don't think it's a pleasant passenger experience. Tell me if you disagree, plane enthusiasts of the comment section. But yeah, no, my point is like, you know, I'm gonna be able to appreciate that. Like, wow, the plane trying to hurt me less, and I'm like more able to take it. How wonderful this is. Because, you know, to some extent, every flight is like a small form of torture. Again, there are some planes that are much less torturous than others, but they're all a little bit not desirable for your body. I think. I could be wrong. I'm just basing that on the fact that I get like a very particular illness every time I fly. Just by the way, just so you know, like it's funny, I love flying, but like there are downsides as well, you know? Like, you know, people are just like, wow, you're basically killing the world all for the sake of a selfie toy. It's like, you know, you know, I love it more than you love most things, I want you to know. I love it so much that when it hurts it, I stay with it. You know, flying is an abusive girlfriend, and you know, I stay with flying. I think she's gonna get better one day, and I think actually she will, but that's not a good domestic abuse analogy. So if you are in that situation with a real person and not an airline, then make sure that you get out of that. That's my pro tips of Toy Cat. Gotta be serious before we get not serious, because I already made that one joke about leukemia. Can't go any further, or people are going to be like, whoa, what's this all about? And yeah, as a result of that, let me just kind of finish my thing and say that I really don't like not being in control of my pain levels. I don't like not being in control of like a large social group where you are just when you are in a group, you don't become you anymore. You become a pawn of the group. And that sounds silly, but it's true. It's how humans work. We are animals that need each other. And you might think, no, I don't really need people. And I hope you're right. I hope you live the dream I wish I could. But we do need other people. On whether directly, like, you know, I need the man at the bagel shop to give me bagels when I ask for a bagel. If he doesn't give me a bagel when I ask for one, then I starve to death, and it's terrible. But on a more direct level, there's also things like, you know, when I first moved out, I was so hyped to just be like, I don't have to talk to people. But if I don't talk to people for long enough, I do go crazy. It is my brain state, my ability to have rational, normal thoughts does go down. You know, it gets worse than that, but I won't go into it too much. And yeah, I think that's a great example of like you need to you're not in control of how much you need other people, and now you know. Also, by the way, here's a just because I want to talk about weird examples, not like actually how control works and stuff. Because I think that's for like my therapist in 10 years to deal with. That's not for you, the internet, to talk about. So instead, let's talk about something way more interesting. Because maybe this is weird, or maybe people agree with me on this one. I like using the internet for things like this. So I've been teething recently. I know that's silly, but apparently, I don't know who I spoke to recently, but someone said, really, your last wisdom teeth? I thought you're age 24. But I'm growing the last of my teeth I will ever grow in my life, I think. Yeah, my last tooth I will ever grow. Just in case you don't know, I'm sure 99.99% of you do. But as you lose all your baby teeth and they get replaced with adult teeth. But then separately to that, there's 4 extra teeth. Most people grow in their late teenage years. And I grew them one by one, like 2 years apart or something. Like it's been terrible. I've had to like teeth 4 times, but this time has been the worst because I've got a new tooth that is snagged on the gum, if that makes sense. Like my mouth is not correctly sized for there to be a tooth there. So every single time I move my jaw up and down, including right now, by the way, every single time I move my jaw up and down, it snags on the gum. Like, I don't know how to describe this without just hurting you all with mental imagery. But basically, it really hurts to be alive right now for me. I've been teething because the tooth is coming in, and also it's coming in and hurting the area around it very much so. And so first of all, I appreciate why children cry so much. You know, I kind of want to just cry in public sometimes too. I feel them on that one. Second of all, as well as understanding children a lot better, like. When, you know, one day when I, you know, accidentally have a child and have to pretend that it was on purpose for the internet so I can get those sick, you know, views. One day when that happens, I'm going to have to be like, why are you crying? It's just teeth. And then I'll be like, wait a minute. I wanted to cry when I got my last tooth. I feel you, baby. And so that's a valuable thing. But second of all, this is like a weird control thing. Maybe it's really weird. Maybe it's normal. But so because I'm in a lot of like silly pain to it. It's not like I've lost a limb where I can be like, there's an arm missing. It's something really silly that I can't even complain about on the internet. Like, everyone listening right now, you're like, really, Toy Cat? You got a tooth coming in and that's hurting you? I thought you were cool, but clearly not. Whatever, it's fine. That is a part of your brain that's saying that, right? So I've got a really silly type of pain that I can't even complain about. It's, you know, I don't want to talk about it with anyone. It's fine. And so one of the things I like doing, because it hurts and it's just annoying, is I really like aggravating the pain. Again, this is really bad advice on a dental hygiene level. If there are any dentists watching, don't worry, I'm sorry. I know this is a bad idea, but the thing that makes me feel better about it is if I aggravate it myself, if I drink like orange juice or like something sugary, and I like swish it specifically in that part of the gum. That makes me feel good when I make the pain way worse, because I'm like, yeah, I'm the one in charge now. If I drink alcohol, it's the same thing. Like, I'm the one in charge now. What are you doing, gums? You think you control me? No, I'm the one in charge how much pain I have. And it's weird. Again, I have no idea if this is like a terrible sign that I am able to like self-harm on this level or something. But to me, it really does feel better putting myself through more pain than my body puts me through. It's almost like it's almost like a moment where you appreciate that you think of your body as part of you all the time. But really, there's 2 ways of thinking about it. Are you your brain or are you your body? And I feel much better when I think of myself as not even my body or my... I think of myself as being a small part of my brain. There is some center somewhere in the ego or whatever, you know. Like, there's some part of my brain that I am in control of right now. the part of my brain that also connects to the nerves gives me control over the body right now. But that's how I see myself. I see myself as like a little orb existing somewhere inside the head of the body that you all know as IBX Toy Cat, you know? I hope you all know as IBX Toy Cat. Or actually, I hope you don't know I'm IBX Toy Cat. If you see me, do say hello, but also, I hope that very few people do know what I look like. But, yeah, no, my point is that, I think there is, you know, like, I think sometimes it's really hard to disassociate or, like, to, you know, it can be easy to assume that you and your body is you. When your leg is broken, you are broken. But I like to think of it as this is a tool I use. In the same way when my controller breaks, I don't go, oh no, my controller broke. My ability to play video games is broken. No, it's a controller. I think of all of my body parts that way, with maybe my eyes being an exception. And I think it's a really handy thing to then think about parts of your brain as also not being you. The part of my brain that gets depressed, I'm not in charge of that one. Get away from me. You're a bad part of the brain. I wish I could get rid of you. Obviously, I think there's valuable reasons why they exist as on an evolutionary level, but on a personal level, I think GTFO, you know, part of my brain that gets sad. GTFO insecurities. You know, like these are things I can overcome. These are things that I can be better than. And yeah, I don't know. For some reason, the reason this ties into the tooth thing is because I feel like having this attitude. Yeah, maybe it's really stupid. Maybe maybe you're hearing this and you're thinking, why would you one think that, and why would you two share that on the internet? You clearly have X or Y mental illness or whatever. But I think I hear it and I think, you know, isn't it important to separate what you can control from what you can't? When I see one of the most common forms of one of the most common breakages, I guess I'll call it, in a human being, is people who can't work out. You know, like, people who get angry at random stuff. Like, oh, the train's late, I'm so mad. You have no control over that train being late. You being angry at the train being late doesn't make the train any less late. So why do it? Who is this for? Who is this anger that you're telling me it, by the way? Like, I don't want to hear about your anger at the train. I'm trying to catch the same thing. I've consigned myself to the fact that sometimes you're 3 minutes late to where you want to go. That's a thing that happens regardless of which form of transport you use. Whatever, man. Don't be mad about this. But it happens all the time. People not only start to think of their body as being like, oh yeah, this is fully in my control, but they're like, yeah, the world around me, life, transport, everything like that. You need to rely on other people. The reason that you have to care about other people, you know, even again, I've said before, I would prefer a world where I didn't interact with people. Most of the flaws in the world do come from people who don't seem to care about the world and you and the people and issues within it. However, in spite of those facts, also I'm going to do these towers, they're nice and easy. There's so much glass being replaced, by the way. We're like close to an hour in, and it just keeps on going, and it keeps on going, and it keeps on going. I just don't know why. But yeah, I think it's a full-on like disqualifying factor in you being someone that I know if you get angry at all the little things. Again, being like angry at people even is like a borderline thing. There are cases where people mess up, and maybe there are some people who might get better via that. I don't actually know if that's true. I would guess that it's not, but sure. You know, if there is a specific person that you know specifically has messed up, because people, when they get angry at people, it's usually not people who have messed up. It's you are around and I am angry. You know, this train was late and you work for the train company, therefore you caused it. People who get angry at frontline employees, by the way, like, usually it's airlines because no one understands airlines, so they're like, wow, you, Mrs. Airline Desk Agent, you must have caused this. Like, there are so many, which are going to trap two Endermen in here apparently, but there are so many weird cases of, like people being angry in situations that don't warrant it and just make the world a worse place. And I think that's a great example of like, work out what's in your control and then work on those things the best. This actually goes back to my like, how could humanity be better? If everyone did that, we would make the world a better place. We'd make it a place where you would have fewer reasons to be angry rather, because it's countable, fun fact. But you would have fewer reasons to be angry. You'd have fewer things that got you down. And I really don't understand why that's not the prevailing view, right? This is kind of turning into a little mini stream. One of the cool things about this like Let's Play week we're about to do or are embarking on with this video. Oh man, I'm going to Australia on Wednesday. I don't know how to deal with that fact. But so yeah, one of the ways that I'm going to Singapore on Wednesday rather. I'm so hyped for Singapore. Can we just like take a second? Can I just say, here's a thing I'm really excited about. I'm going to Singapore. It's going to be good. It's a country I love, and I'm going there again. What more do I need in the world? I don't need anything more in the world. That's the answer to that question. But man, it's gonna be great. I'm only there for a day, but I'm excited. And you know what? Just let's take a brief moment from the world being so serious and just say, you know what? Life is good for right now. Even though there are things that sometimes make me feel not okay. I think reminding myself that, like, you know, but even despite the things that sometimes don't go well, sometimes things do go well, and you know, focusing on that is nice. Maybe some people have different ratios and balances and things that make them great, but still, I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out there. I'm happy that thought right now just made me happy in a sea of otherwise seriousness. Well, isn't that a nice little thing? At least for me it is. Anyway, so let's leave that off to one side for a minute, and let's just finish the fact by just saying the world would be a better place if people were more educated and motivated to make the world a better place. And everyone can do that if everyone thinks they can do that. The belief in... By the way, watching those shadows appear under the Enderman, something disconcerting about that. I don't like that at all. Anyway, so it doesn't even follow them in a logical way. It's not even the right size shadow. Why is it a circle? It's going to bother me forever. But I can't improve it. So you know what I do? I leave it to the side. I've said my grievances, and now it's gone. You see that? I'm not going to spend the next 10 minutes seething about it in my head, because that doesn't help anyone. And if the world was filled with people who also thought the same, things would be better in that way. I'm going to push this point home a lot today. That's like my big point I want to raise. If nothing else, take that home. So yeah, let's try and Minecraft again. Let's try and talk about Minecraft stuff. Because if you haven't played Minecraft in a while, you might not notice this. You might just think like, huh, Minecraft got a bit weird. But they changed the textures. And of all the new textures, I feel like glass is always one that I think is either really strong or really weak. I think it's a really great texture, but also it annoys me because they redesigned the glass texture in Minecraft and still decided that the clear block, the block in the game that is meant to be clear, should have these little stripes on them. These 2 pixels here, these 3 pixels here. Why is that necessary? Because what it starts to do is it starts to, like, when you start to look at them, you're like, what? I don't know, it defeats the point of glass in my opinion. What do you think though? Do you have the correct opinion, or do you disagree because you like having wrong opinions? I'd like to hear in the comments down below. Sorry about that. So we're making good progress on, oh god, that's not good progress, but we're making good progress on actually finishing off these towers now, which is the biggest part of the glass that went missing. I really hope there's not another end glitch that's going to cause more dragons to spawn. I probably should have like double and triple checked all my portals to guarantee that's not a thing, but assuming that it's not, assuming that I'm not going to go for a whole crisis with another ender dragon soon, which is a genuine possibility. I hate to admit, but it is real. But yeah, we're actually finally getting close to that, which means we're coming to the end of our how many ridiculous number of hours journey it's been just to fix something that wasn't even my fault. It's literally, in case you're curious, when you uploaded a world to Realms, a bug happened where the Ender Dragon could count as not defeated, because Realms are not the same as just a Minecraft world in the cloud. It's kind of like a server world. It's got some weird technical reasons why it's not the same, and part of those technical reasons led to a dragon respawning bug, which, because I moved my world onto Realms and then off of Realms again, because I move it from platform to platform for videos. So because I put my Realms on Realms, I put my video world on Realms and then downloaded it off Realms, it got the bug without me ever even playing on Realms, if that even makes sense. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, basically, because I used Realms for something entirely different, the whole world got destroyed. And it's this is something I should have explained at the start of the video, not at the end, eh? But you know what? Who needs to be consistent and make sense? It's an IBX Toycat world. But yeah, no, this past week has been definitely one of introspection for me. I've had a lot of like time to think about things, and I think thinking time is something that can be really valuable, or really the opposite of valuable. And I know I guess that's a non-statement, right? But it really is true in my opinion. Like, you can think about things and you can make them better, and you can think about things, and I think you can make them worse. I think I think a lot of things are made worse too. I think, especially when it comes to personal relationships, never overthink what's in someone else's head. I think most people and most thoughts in most of their heads are quite one-dimensional and straightforward. I think when you start trying to play 3D chess inside someone else's head, you're always going to end up in a bad place. And, you know, that's why I don't think about other people's thoughts and motivations. I ask them, hey, why did you do this thing? And whatever they say, I try to trust, yeah. And, yeah, generally speaking, I think you should trust what people say. Like, if you... Again, I guess because I try to surround myself by honest people, I implicitly trust people around me. Sometimes I have no good reasons to trust people, but I think it's funny. I used to have so many problems with like lack of trust. Now I have problems where like I guess I'm over trusting strangers. Sometimes it's working out, I guess though. But yeah, no, the reason I'm bringing this up is because yeah, I've had a lot of time inside my own head, and as a result of that, I've been kind of thinking about like what is it on this channel that we even really do. Sometimes you can lose sight of what people enjoy about you and also what you want to do. I think actually one of the biggest reasons that a lot of YouTubers, I wouldn't say go down necessarily, but one of the biggest like things that leads to a downfall amongst YouTubers is when they're like they don't know what it is about them that makes them successful, so they think it's something that it isn't, and they focus all their effort on that thing that no one actually really cares about. And I'm sure I do that on some level. I try not to do it on many major levels. But yeah, it's really interesting when it comes to things like the videos that people put out. The reason I think that something you'll see on YouTube non-stop is that newer YouTubers always leapfrog the ones that came before them. The first big vlogger, I don't know who it would be. They're not a big vlogger anymore. The second, you know, the big vlogger that came after them, they're not a big vlogger either compared to the person who came after that. And it's the same with gaming channels. The gaming channels I used to watch, there were like 2 that went over 100,000 subscribers. They're now at like 400,000 and like 300,000. That was like the peak they ever reached. The guys who leapfrogged them ended up getting to like 1 million, but then at that point they kind of froze. And then the guys that overtook them who started way later, like 2013, 2014, now they're the ones of tens of millions. And it's the same thing, I don't know when PewDiePie started, but I imagine it was during the Black Ops 1 days. So, like, there's a good example. He's now the biggest gaming channel. But I think a lot of channels always end up getting leapfrogged, and that's always something I've been highly aware of, that, like, there is a channel that hasn't even started making Minecraft videos yet that will be bigger than me by the end of 2020, or something like that. And I think it's always important to just kind of, like, always look at what you're doing and always evaluate why you like it, why other people like it, and why it works on YouTube. A lot of people lose that final point, and that's something I always want to be actually honest with you about. There are some changes I have to make to videos sometimes and to video content, not because I think that they're great for the fans. I might enjoy doing it myself, because I generally don't make changes if I don't enjoy doing them. Again, the reasons we've spoken about before. But there are some changes that can make, Seed Sunday, the only reason it could come back is because all of a sudden YouTube started promoting it again. So, wow, look at that. Admittedly, I think I changed the title thumbnail system, but if it weren't for that fact, we couldn't have Seed Sunday, because uploading a dead video every week on your channel, bad idea, and that's what the Let's Play was for most of its time. Oh, and recently, have you noticed how the Let's Play started doing well? And it's kind of like an endless cycle where if you're not focusing on that, you can end up with 7 dead series. 7 series that no one wants to watch, or no one's getting recommended because they want to watch them, but they don't want to watch it as bad as they want to watch some other video, because on YouTube you are forced to compete for your own audience, which is a problem, I would say, but it's one I can't do anything about. Like, I can tell you to hit the bell if you want to see my videos, as opposed to other videos, but in the end, YouTube not showing you my video might be better for you. I don't know for sure if it is. I would hope that it's not. I'd hope that you'd want to see my video, which you can do with the bell. But the end result is YouTube gets to decide, and it's a constraint you work with, and that's yeah. I guess I'm talking the inside game of YouTube here. But now why is this Let's Play probably titled differently? We're trying something new again, and I hope it works. I hope this video has a bunch of views, because views are that is literally people watching a thing, right? It's always it's considered like a no-no in the YouTube game to be like, oh, you did that thing for views. But there always has to be a view component in what you do. It shouldn't be the only component. It's never my only component. I've mentioned a bunch of the other components in this video, but you always need to have some, you always need to try and reach people when you're on a platform where the point is to reach people. In the same, I think having a goal in your life, a point to aim towards is always important. Knowing, this sounds like I was just giving YouTube advice, but that exact same thing I was just saying is so important in every aspect of your life. What do you want from hanging around with friends? If you feel bad every time you do it, maybe you've got the wrong friends. What do you want from a job? Is it just money? Well, I hope they give you an amount that's enough for you to enjoy, right? If you're not, then something has gone wrong there. I think one of the most valuable, kind of like I was saying, big part of everyone has broken parts of their brain, and being able to admit what they are and working around them is important. I think also we need to admit that we as humans are goal machines, right? We set ourselves a thing and then we do it. We're very good at doing that. That's how most amazing things have been done at some point. A lot of people think that what being a billionaire is it's your parents give you $1 million and then you invest it and it magically becomes $1 billion. And I'll admit I've never become a billionaire. I do think that there are definite issues of the way it's even counted, because you can have a bunch of shares in a company that people assume you own, and those shares, the fact that you own the company, which is the only reason you own the other things you own, is counted as being $1 billion. It's a weird thing. Look into how share valuations work. If I own 100% of IBX Toycat LLC and I claim the price is $100 million a share, then am I worth $1 billion? The answer is technically yes, as long as I never float them at market price, although then no one's ever going to count it. But anyway, let's get away from the technicalities of what even is a billionaire, and let's just mention that there are some people, probably billionaires might be a bad example because the internet hates them right now, right? Oh yeah, you're the worst. You did such a bad thing. You did whatever. That's the thing. So let's leave that to the side. Let's not try and go over divisive example. Let's try and go over a better example of there are people who work absurd numbers of hours in a week. CEOs maybe, I don't know. Pick an example of a job where you have to work 80, 90 something hours. And the reason that people work those jobs is because they think the end results are worth it. The reason that people don't work a job at all is because they feel for instance, looking after a child and making that child great is worth more to them and maybe to society than it would be to be in a job but doing, you got to make those trade-offs with everything you do in your life. And I think it's really one of the things that I think literally makes the difference between how much you enjoy your life and don't is if you can work out what trade-offs you're making and why. Why is it that you are doing X thing at cost of Y thing when you don't like X thing and you like Y thing? Why would you trade off a thing you like for a thing you don't like? And hopefully there's good reasons. If you come up with those, it's great. But yeah, I think the most common way that people are broken, because obviously, I would say people aren't honest enough. I'd say this, that. But they're minor things in the grand scheme of things. The biggest problem with certain people is misunderstanding why it is you do anything. And honestly, I'm going for a whole crisis right now of why do I do anything? What is it that I enjoy? That's why I was thinking about what is it that I want? What is it that I care about from YouTube? It's I want to promote knowledge and honesty and the values I think are important, while also making fun things that people can hopefully enjoy and use as a tool to unwind from after maybe a bad day. Because bad days are a thing that one of the let me share a story actually. We're running out of time for this to be a reasonable Let's Play episode, but I'll keep going anyway. Who's gonna stop me? No one's gonna stop me as who. So let me share a story that I might have shared a couple of times before, but it's an important one because the reason that I sometimes make videos that are probably bad view-wise and probably bad money-wise, but I think it's important to talk about things like this, like what we're talking about, because going on that deeper level, going on the level of conversation that you don't normally get from your friends, from stuff like that, is really important to do because no one's willing to do it because it's a hard conversation to have, but it's one that can make you feel so much better. I would honestly say there was a YouTube video. It was just like a chill talk about something really deep that was like, this is the thing that was the thing I needed at that time. Sometimes when you're surrounded by shallow nonsense, sometimes you need a deep talk. And I kind of like that, especially in the Minecraft world where a lot of people are aiming videos at children. So they're like, ha ha ha, I placed another glass block. I placed another glass block. I'm placing even more glass blocks in the tower. Can I place them all? Oh no, I don't want to fall. If I fall, I'm going to die. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Can you do... You know, like, I could do that all day. I could do my Frosty the Panda voice, as long as I like. But in a world where a lot of YouTubers just made the financial decision of, in the same way that it's easy to make the financial decision of, go with whatever you are told by the big company that makes the game you play. It's very easy to be like, well, on this website, I can make videos I can make videos I would enjoy personally, or I can make videos that I wouldn't, but you better believe a lot of other people will. And I think that's fine too, right? Like, you don't have to make everything in the world about you. In fact, it's probably quite selfish that I make videos that I would enjoy watching. Like, that is one of the guiding principles of why I do and don't do so many ridiculous things. But the, I know the extremist ideology video was a really stupid video to make. Like, it was bad in terms of, like, it wasn't going to ever make a bunch of money because it's so short. I want to say, like, 5-6 minutes. It was really bad in the sense that, like, I knew I was going to offend some people because on the internet, you can't tell people the opposite of their view. But even if it's in a jokey way, they want to hear, there are some people who genuinely want, like, the Communist Manifesto, but in Minecraft. There are people that want that real bad, and the fact that I didn't give it to them, even though I didn't even say anything about their thing, they're like, you didn't say my thing was good, unsubscribe. That happened a bunch, right? I lost a bunch of subscribers as a result of that video, but I knew if I watched that video, I would enjoy it. I made a thing that I've enjoyed something like before, and I really like that in the end. And yeah, sometimes you gotta make bad decisions to make good decisions, I guess. Or maybe you don't. Maybe that's an example of something I just should look at and be like, why did I do that? Or maybe not. I really don't actually know. I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer here. What I do know, though, is that even after, what was that, like 2 double chests full? Like, we're pretty close to 10,000 blocks of glass. Even after all of this, we still might not be all the way done with fixing these pillars, because I've got, like, 1 more inventory full, and I don't think it's gonna be enough. Leave your votes now. Do you think there's enough glass to do this? I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, this is the amount of glass we have, and this is the amount of end we need to restore. It really is going to be a close call. I genuinely wouldn't be able to guess which way it will go, but I really hope we finish it. I want this to be fixed and done so we can work on other cool stuff, It's like weighing on my mind in a serious way. But yeah, I'll fix these 2 towers first, and we'll see where we end up. So there's some really random blocks of glass missing. Like right now, do you see it? As I'm stacking up on screen, can you spot the missing block of glass? Because I couldn't for a very long time, and all of a sudden they just kind of appear. Also, I think we shouldn't be wasting some. But can you spot the missing block of glass? If you could, good job. If you couldn't, then here it is. I don't know if this was the dragon or if I just didn't place it the first time and never noticed. But I guess there's one thing to come from the amount of time we've spent here. We are slowly working stuff like that out. So, yeah, I've now finished those pillars, those pillars, those pillars. It's just this messy thing here to do, and I've got 6 and a bit, really 7 stacks, let's be honest. I've got 7 stacks to do it with. Can I do it? Is the genuine question here. And I guess we'll work that out together, because I think it's going to come right down to the wire. And if there's any other parts of other pillars that I've just left and forgotten, then it's definitely a no. But I think this is the last pillar that needs some glass, and I think we've done all the glass on the floor that has been removed, besides near the portal, but it's a small amount. So, yeah, let's see how this one ends up. This is actually going to go down to the wire. Can Toy Cat finish his glass end, or is he doomed to spend forever working on it? Oh, God, yeah, okay, this is not looking good already. Oh, okay, so the plan is quite simple, really. All I have to do, it's very simple, is place all of these things down. Okay, we can do that. Just got to stack up and see how much glass we have. Oh man, I'm so bad at I don't know what it is like. Maybe it's because I've been doing this for an hour. It is admittedly 1 a.m. Do you want to know the secrets? I recorded this really late at night. I got back from skiing, my last day of the year, and I thought to myself, my last day until 2020-ish. Yeah, the last day of the year. Like, I'm not going to ski inside until 2020, because I'm going to go to real mountains now. Because as soon as it turns winter, and for some reason winter includes the start of October, but as soon as it turns winter, the ski place starts charging more, because they know that people need to learn to ski before they go on a mountain. It's mean, it's rude. It means I can't do my favorite form of exercise, but it's fine, you know, like, I understand business needs this, that. But what I don't understand is that, yeah, so I did that for the last time today, and I was like, you know what, while I was there, I'm in a big group that I really would rather not be in, you know, tying into that as well. You know, why don't I just go home and record a Let's Play episode? And so the idea was born. I headed to Five Guys first, which is of course the official channel burger. If you've never gone to Five Guys and you live in the UK, you're missing out, by the way. Oh, that rhymed, how perfect. But oh no, this is not getting done, is it? Yeah, oh, actually, maybe. We're really close to the top. I thought we were guaranteed not doing this, but now we might just. We're on 4.5 stacks, but we are pretty close. It's gonna look nearly finished, if not entirely finished. And we do have a few more stacks of sands still to be smelted, or like a few more blocks. I don't know if it's stacks necessarily. But come on here, we might just do this. Are we gonna finish our glass end, or are we gonna be left in ruins? Is a genuine question. I was sure I brought too much at first. I was sure, like, you know what, 4 shulker boxes, how much damage did we really do? Because a shulker box, what, 27 times 64? Off the top of my head, that's like 1,600 blocks, something like that. So we brought like 7,000 blocks of glass. Oh, it was a little less, like 6,000 blocks of glass, let's say. And it seemed excessive at the time, but yet here we are. We now have 3.5 stacks, and we've got to do some awkward magic like this, but that's fine. I think I've got to stop doing these dangerous falls, by the way. I died from one recently, but I'm still just, for some reason, I just keep doing it anyway. It's like I don't even care. But yeah, just like this, we're gonna end up, I believe, actually having reglassed the end, and not glassed in the dangerous. Oh no, there's all of this to do. Not even glassed in the bad way, glassed in the good way. Fun fact, glassed is a term you can use in the UK, which is what it means when you hit someone with a glass bottle. And I don't know if this is actually true. I've been threatened by with being glassed once, right? And fun fact, it didn't come to fruition. If it did, I would be fascinated to know how that would go. But yeah, I've always been curious about the concept of being glass, because like, why does glass hurt so much? Like, it shatters on impact, so surely that to me indicates the head is stronger than the glass. You know, like most things that you want to hurt people with don't shatter on impact. When I stab you with a knife, the knife doesn't like bend inside you, although that'd be kind of cool, right? But for some reason, like, glass is cool because it shatters. I'd love to know. Anyone in the comments, if you're an expert on glassing, or have been glassed yourself, or maybe you glass people, maybe you live in Glasgow, and that's just your weekend activity. You know, I'm not going to judge you. It's cool as long as you let me know the science behind it. You can do anything as long as you let me know why. That is my rule as, you know, Daddy Toy Cat, which is definitely what I am on the channel. That was a bad idea to say that, I realized immediately after saying it. But, you know, as your father, as the person who is definitely your responsibility, or who you are the responsibility of, I can tell you that. Also, what is this even meant to be? But I can tell you, you can do whatever you want as long as you tell me why. You can kill someone as long as you know, I would love to, you know, kind of like Silence of the Lambs style. I would love to, like, speak to a murderer and be like, so what? Why did you kill them? You know, now they're dead and you're in a prison. Like, you can't do much from prison. Your life isn't good here. And, you know, if you'd have let them, now they've been murdered, they'll be forever known as a murder victim. You let them die normally, they'll do some terrible things, and like, their legacy will be ruined that way. Really, the most brutal way to murder someone is to let them die slowly. Or, you know, like, as in off old age. Because no one ever dies gracefully that way. Whereas JFK, you're always going to remember JFK as a young president. However, George, like, H.W. Bush, I'm going to guess. I'm I'm gonna guess that I'm British. If I get that even slightly right, then go me. It's an American president. Thank you very much. But yeah, basically, you're gonna remember one of the George Bushes as an old guy, right? Maybe both the George Bushes. I don't even know at this point. Why did you have two presidents named George Bush? Who thought that was a good idea? Who was like, wait a minute, I saw this name on the ballot paper 8 years ago, and actually he's one of the most unpopular presidents. But you know what, this guy with the same name as him, probably gonna do a great job. Whose idea was that, eh? Like, just saying, lots of bad things happened as a result of your decision to just go for someone based on name value. Thank you very much. But yeah, we have now covered the end in glass. We have exactly 100 glass blocks left, and it's done. Besides, like, stuff like this. Should we count this? I don't even know. We'll put a block there. But 99 blocks of glass left. Every single one of these pillars, to the best of my knowledge, is done. I'm going to do a fly around, and then we're going to say, the end is... Oh, no! Oh, God. Why did I celebrate? Why did we do this? Why? Oh, okay. So, this is not done. But besides that, we're good, I think. Okay, so now we're on 49 glass blocks left. If there's anything else that's even somewhat major, then I think we failed our project. However, I'm doing a quick fly around. Seems to me, I'm no expert in this or anything, but it seems to me like we've nailed it. Oh yeah, look at that. It's all done. It's all glossed up. The end is relaminated, and isn't that beautiful? I think you'll find it is. So yeah, in the next episode, either I'm going to do something silly with a cave update and go insane, or we're going to finally start work on an end farm. Because I honestly just want a good source of experience. Like, I've been putting it off for a long time, because every time someone asks me, make an Enderman farm toy cat, I say, get out of my life. But I think I'm going to finally stop actively trying to do the opposite of what people say in that one regard, because I think I do need an end farm bad enough. Also, by the way, I have these giant towers that I dug down. That's how I have so much obsidian in chests. In case you're curious, in the 14 features from the last 5 years that you probably like video. Boom, isn't that nice? But yeah, look at this. We are done. We can leave the end and we can say, this was a great thing we've done, and now we can move on to the next. You could say that this project, and indeed this video, have come to an end. Hey. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you enjoy the really long Let's Plays, I don't know, just like it or something. Just let me know that I didn't waste an hour and a half of my life. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.